Hello folks, so in this video I wanted to talk about how analogies can be actually a very bad way to explain stuff. I mean, you can use analogies to explain like basic small stuff, to relate to things and whatnot. Analogies are like very basic things, right? You can't use analogies too much, especially for too much logic, right? For example, I'll give you a stupid analogy, right? For example, someone might say, how can you, like, some people think they can't eat the same menu every day, right? Probably true. Like, for example, I think I can't, but I'm actually trying to. For example, I try to eat the same chicken salad almost every day because I can't find any other good chicken salad. The others have too much masala and all. So they might say you can't eat the same food every day, it's boring, right? Now, if they use it in an analogy, it's like the most stupid thing that you can hear. For example, if they say you can't eat the same food every day, every day, every meal, it will be very boring. And if they say the same thing next, like similar to that, similar to how you can't eat the same food every day for every meal, you can't be with the same person every day, all the time. With someone being with the same person being your romantic partner, with same person being your spouse. Now, how stupid is that? Because food is different, food preferences are different, and romantic relationships are different, spouses, partners are different, and how people choose their spouses, partners are different from how people choose their food generally, or so I believe. And not everyone is going to keep changing their spouses or partners or romantic partners and whatnot. Often as they change their food preferences and food menu, everyday food menu, right? So to prove a statement wrong, you just need one false statement or one bad statement. So I'm just trying to say that analogies are not always great. Analogies can have lot of fallacies, lot of problems. So a lot of times people use analogies to explain stuff. Take it with a pinch of salt, more like a big basket or bucket of salt, right? Not just a pinch of salt. Understand that it's just an analogy, and don't use it for logic, don't use it for correctness and whatnot. Just use it to relate, right? That's all. A bit to relate. But then most times understand that analogies can be very bad, very wrong, stupid, crazy, idiotic, the most dumbest thing also, right? It can be the most dumbest thing, the analogy, right? So try to be aware and be very careful about telling analogies, giving analogies, and getting analogies. You can use analogies for fun. You can use analogies to make some small relativity theory and all that, but don't use it too much for logic. Okay? Like for example, I used to use this analogy. I used to use it. I don't use it much now. It's a fun analogy. I used to use it. I realized no, this is not a great analogy use, but so I stopped using it. But I used to use it. So the analogy was this: so someone was saying, if you need home food, get married. And I was like, dude, if you need chocolate, you go and buy chocolate. You don't go and buy a chocolate factory, right? It's a very, very bad analogy. It's a funny analogy though. It's a funny and a bit relatable in the sense that if you need some particular thing, you just get that particular thing. You don't get the whole thing that creates it and whatnot. Like if you need chocolate, you don't go and buy a chocolate factory. You can just buy a chocolate. It's easier. That's all, right? But then it doesn't make sense to relate it with marriage or getting married. But then to some extent, okay, you can say funnily, you can say this very bad joke, probably very, very bad joke, crazy joke. Why? Because see, chocolate, it's about buying. Getting married, it's not like you're buying a wife or you're buying a spouse or something like that, right? And and also these people who are saying that get married for just food, these people are idiots already, right? Because they think if you get married and if you have a spouse, let's say if you have a wife, she will cook for you. No, you don't get married and you don't ask your wife to cook. They are not some slaves for you, right? So that's just stupid automatically already, right? People who are saying this stupid stuff, dumb stuff, people who shouldn't just talk about this, right? Ideally, right? I could say even worse, but I just don't want to. So these people shouldn't just talk about this. They're brainless, literally, okay? and they're very rude. They don't have brains, they probably have something else in their head, and talking about saying stuff like you should just get married. When you say something like food is a problem, and then they say you should just get married. These people, I don't want to say anything. So I mean, and to these people, if you give analogies, they will just come back with some stupid idiotic stuff. So you should be very careful about who you tell your analogies to and for what purpose you say. For fun, okay, but mostly just don't use it for logic. Don't use it to counter and all that. Just use it for fun. Tell that it was a fun analogy. I'm not gonna do this and all, and I'm not. Just tell the real reason, like I'm just not gonna marry. That's all. If they say something like that, and analogies, okay, they're okay. Ideally, they are for kids, I guess. Don't be a kid. If you're an adult, just be an adult. Don't be stupid. Okay, I'll be nice. I'm just gonna say stupid. Okay, I could be rude. Please use analogies to a minimum, and please understand that analogies have a lot of fallacies, have a lot of problems. I just explained to you one example. That's enough to say that not all analogies are great. A lot of analogies are stupid, and just don't use analogies as much as possible. Try to explain the actual thing. Use analogies just to help people relate to things, to get started and whatnot, and tell them clearly that this is just an analogy and this is not the actual thing, and this is not even close to the actual thing. And there are actually these things called fallacies in arguments and whatnot. I think analogy is one of those fallacies. I'll probably talk about different kinds of fallacies and whatnot in a separate video. That's all I had for this video, talking about bad things about analogies and how bad and how stupid analogies can be. So be aware of what analogies you use, and be aware of what analogies you hear and listen to and believe. So be aware, be very careful, be vigilant. Beware, be aware, be very careful, and be vigilant. So that's all I had for this video. I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.